Don't get your feelings hurt. Read this.
Hello and welcome back to Payman's Void of Eternal Darkness. It's another episode of Short Film Roundup.
Short film roundup.
Short film roundup. Whoa! Hey,
Dramatic entrance. That was
what
awesome.
an entrance. You know how to make an entrance.
Where'd you come from?
Wow.
Over there.
Oh, right, over there.
Yeah.
Cool.
There is no there in the void.
Here, there,
Yes.
everywhere.
Here, there, everywhere. It's all the same thing.
Yeah,
There's
nowhere,
no ups,
man.
no downs.
Nothing.
Just endless black and nothing to do but
Yeah.
talk about short films.
That's it.
That's right, yeah.
Just why we're here today.
Yeah, we're here to learn a little bit, aren't
We're
we?
here to learn
Aye.
from Reproductive Cycles.
Yeah.
Who's from, Reproductive Cycles is a film
Wait.
that was submitted to us by the director.
Who's
His
that?
name is John Gardiner.
John Gardiner.
John
Reproductive
Gardiner
Cycles
sent us
and
Reproductive
episode
Cycles.
69?
Nice.
Hey, those
Nice.
two. I don't really understand why.
How they
that's
relate.
nice. What do you mean?
Well, you see, 69...
So I'm assuming you've already seen the
No,
movie.
Takeshi 60.
If you haven't seen it already, there is the link below. You can always check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're not aware, on Friday we will be announcing the 3 films we will be reviewing or analyzing next week.
Yep.
So check out the films ahead of time so you can tell us all about what you learned from them
That's
as
right.
we dive into what we learned from watching Reproductive Cycles.
Last week was a bit late, so we didn't get it out in time. So if we did, you guys' comments and reviews would be in this episode. Unfortunately, they are not today. But they will be next. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, let's get on with it.
So,
Kick it off.
All right, let's go, Kenny.
Hi.
Start us off with your Reproductive Cycles.
Okay, so
What can we learn from this film?
once a month. Oh,
What can
The
we
movie.
learn from the movie?
got it. Okay.
gotcha.
I wonder how many more times we can make this movie.
So, we had an interesting conversation after watching this film, because I think the major takeaway in terms of what we can learn from it has to really come down to intent and what we really were hoping to do to an audience.
Yeah.
What ended up on screen was I have a few good ideas to make people laugh, and that worked. That was effective. It was a funny movie. I liked the performance. I liked the I think all that worked very well.
I thought so too, yeah.
Where I feel like this film misses the mark is that it really could have been something strong. It could have been something that had meaning or took you somewhere, but it just didn't, right? It was just a few opportunities to laugh and didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened to the character. He had the semblance of an arc, but it was so small. He goes from saying, I'm not sure if I'm cool with having a baby to, yeah, maybe I'm cool with having a baby. But nothing really happened in between to show us why that happened.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much my biggest thing too. I felt that this, I loved the setup for this and the whole we've been having sex scheduled in order to heighten the chances of getting pregnant. But then he says, but I'm not sure if I want to be a dad. And I'd be like, oh, that's resonant.
Right.
That resonates with me.
And now we start the story arc.
Yeah.
Right. He begins on the arc.
Yeah.
However, the only experience that we really see him have is one that seems to reinforce that he doesn't want to be a dad.
Yeah.
Right? The conversation with the old couple where it's just like, yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yes. Yeah. And ultimately, having him at the end pretty much just say, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe it's all right. I'm just going to go with the flow. Felt like he went nowhere.
It felt like the story just ended like we just saw the setup of a story.
Yeah.
And then it just ended. We didn't actually have a story.
Yeah.
We had a character, and he was a very interesting character. They did a great job of developing this person.
Yeah.
And we had a good scenario, and we had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it.
Yeah. Didn't quite stick the landing.
Well, we didn't quite do the backflip yet.
Yeah.
It's more just cueing the music and coming out on the mat.
Didn't even take the
Right?
jump.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what does that tell us about about movies in general, about being made this way.
Well-
How could we take what they did and make it into something better? How could we make that story arc happen?
Well, I think that the idea of a story that works is one that takes you on a journey,
Yeah.
right? You go from problem exists to problem solved, or you go from
Or problem exists to I'm working on the problem.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In so doing, I think your audience becomes more invested in the story, and the emotional beats have more weight, right? It becomes a more memorable experience, and whatever your intention was gets hammered home, right?
Yeah.
The feeling that you're hoping to get to the audience will get there.
Yeah.
I felt like the only intention here was to make people laugh.
I felt that way too.
So
Yeah.
I've been in the experience of trying to make babies before, and it is great material for comedy. I mean, having scheduled sex is a bit absurd.
Yeah.
And it's a great concept to build a character and a story around. He built the character, but he didn't build the story. So the question I guess I'm trying to dig into is, why does that matter so much?
Well, comedy, drama, horror, any of these emotions, sadness, all those emotions need to stem from the story, be side effects, right? They're all
Right.
side effects,
Yeah.
they're not the main course.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's why Hereditary is so scary, because it tells a story that has scary implications. And that's why The Prodigy, horror movie we just watched, sucks, because it's all just scare. So same thing can apply to any genre. You know, if you're mostly having jokes and just doing a stand-up routine,
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, even stand-up routines tell stories.
Right.
Right.
The best
Right.
ones.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
this felt more like a TV commercial.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I felt like. This
That's
had
interesting,
that
yeah.
vibe.
It has that surface level humor stuff where things are funny.
Yeah.
But they're not any deeper than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if it ended with his wife saying she's finally pregnant, and he turned to the camera and said, "Thanks, freeze my balls," you know, and it
That
became
would've-
like it would have like fit. It would have fit. It wouldn't have. But if this was like a very humanistic, more emotional story,
Yeah.
then that would have felt like a betrayal
Right.
of what this really was about.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it didn't really feel like in the end that we've learned anything about the character.
Yeah.
Not really. He himself came across as fairly superficial.
Yeah.
Just not a lot.
You know-
We didn't go deep into him other than he had this fear.
I think we can get an interesting conversation going about that's how people are in fourth wall breaking kind of films like these.
Yeah.
Where because the person has to break the fourth wall, they almost get themselves disassociated from the story that's happening around them.
Yeah, because there's some kind of omniscient narrator on the story instead of an active participant in it.
Right. Now, is there
Yeah.
any fourth wall breaking like characters that we know of in media today that
Where
still
it
work?
works really well.
Yeah.
Frank Underwood, controversial.
Frank Underwood. That's a
Controversial.
good. That's
a
actually
good
really
one.
good. Yeah.
Yep.
So why does he work in that instance?
Because we have his wife.
Yeah.
I think the reason why Frank Underwood works is because we still get to dive deep into his personality because of the apparatus of his other half.
Yeah.
He has that other character. In this film, it's just him, really.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that is true.
And so it's hard to chisel down any deeper than, I mean, he's just walking around narrating on a thing.
Right. So Frank Underwood has a story that's participating around him that have other characters that he's playing off of, and then we hear his inner thoughts through fourth wall breaks.
Yes.
And so because of that, he still has a story, but it's just separate from what he's delivering.
Yes.
That's really interesting because now because this whole thing is about this guy delivering jokes, or not jokes, but delivering information that happens to be funny because of how
Because of
clinical
the
it is.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but the outside information or the outside story that's happening to create the context isn't as interesting because we don't care about it.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's
That's
interesting.
kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I learned that from this.
You learned that. You've learned something.
Yeah, I've learned something from this film.
That's why we do short film roundup, Taylor.
Yes.
Someday
You're now a better filmmaker.
Someday
Yes.
we'll get out of the void and make a movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Why don't we make a movie in the void?
We can.
We
It's
can.
just the scenery. It's just all going to
yeah.
be very monotonous.
This is all we have right
Oh.
here is the tables.
But I always make void movies.
The table disappears as soon as the short film roundup episode ends.
Is that why it
That-
takes so long to find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it rematerializes just moments before an episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep. I only found out because I was standing in the middle once,
Yeah.
and
And
it
it fell.
actually rematerialized, and I was actually a part of the table.
Really?
Interesting.
It was very
Wow.
disconcerting.
You can almost say that the table itself is kind of representative of
The
the
duality of man.
duality
Yes.
of man.
Exactly.
Yes.
Duality of man, sir.
Okay,
Exact-
back to back to
No, that
the
that was the lesson that we
Cycle.
got.
This is it, dude.
reproductive cycles.
What else? What else? What else?
So the one phrase that came up right after watching this was one of our coined short film roundup terms of jump jokes.
Jump jokes.
So
Let's show the definition of a jump joke on our graphic.
jump
right.
jokes.
I better not be editing this one.
You're like, I'm not making that. A jump joke is the equivalent to a jump scare, which is something that most people are familiar with in horror movies. Jump jokes is what you do in a comedy, which is where you bring humor out, ha, 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 but it's the humor itself isn't necessarily it's not moving the story forward.
Yeah.
The jokes don't move the story forward.
It exists
And-
just to make you laugh.
We
Yes.
can talk about that using a classic jump scare that Prodigy did with the hide and seek thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. So she covers her eyes. The character in Prodigy covers her eyes like she's playing hide and seek, and she counts to 10. And supposedly the little boy has ran off to hide somewhere. But then it doesn't matter if we spoil this movie. You guys should not see this movie. Do not endorse
Prodigy.
this movie whatsoever.
You see this movie, don't see Prodigy.
Yeah, Prodigy's
Yes.
terrible. So she counts to 10, and when she pulls her hands back, the boy's standing right in front of her face, and there's a boom.
That is a scare that, first of all, doesn't work, but second
And
of
it's
all,
funny.
It made us
but
laugh,
actually doesn't move anything forward.
It didn't do anything. It,
It
was
didn't
pointless.
Didn't say anything about the characters.
Right.
Nothing about the situation. Nothing.
Right. And not only does when you have a funny moment that moves the story along, not only is that helpful because it moves the story to make just a better story, but it's also funnier.
Yeah.
It's much more funny.
So with that being said, all of his dialogue or monologue in the beginning, where he's talking to us about what the situation is, until he gets to that line where I don't know if I want to have a baby. Like that whole stuff in the beginning is great because it's setting up the story.
Yes.
But then after that, he keeps doing it, and it seems like it's now just a stream of consciousness. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
Yeah, it does have a stream of consciousness feeling. It's a difficult movie to criticize because it is really well made.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
it succeeds at what it appears to attempt to do, which
think
is
so.
just be funny.
Right.
It's just not a strong or powerful movie.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been.
Definitely.
And it's because of that context that we talked about.
right.
yeah,
The
yeah.
story being kind of lacking.
Right. I do want to point out. I don't know. Let's just figure this out right here, right now. We talked a little bit about the editing rhythm while we watched the movie. What can we learn from the way this was edited, from the spaces that were left in between jokes, from the slower kind of way that it took it? What can we take from this film and apply it to others?
I wonder, this is an extreme thought, but I wonder if it's always better to be shorter on your cuts than longer.
Interesting.
Because I felt like through this film that almost all the cuts were just a bit too long. Like the whole thing just could have been a bit tighter.
Yeah.
So I wonder if erring on the side of tight is almost always a positive.
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
don't know. I'm just throwing it out
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. Yeah, I would say the same thing, obviously, because this film felt longer. I would say that it's better to tighten up stuff. But okay, here's the thing. I have noticed that one thing that people have taught me a lot when I'm editing stuff is they say you take stuff away from the edit as much as you can until it doesn't make sense to take anything away anymore. Until you're left with stuff where if I take that away, that's going to be vital information that's going to screw up the story. I think that is what needs to happen.
Yeah. That should almost be like a part of the process of like editing any film.
Yeah.
Is like go extreme with that just for one pass, not as a
Right.
final cut,
Right.
but just take as much as humanly possible. Kill all the things that you love about it, all the cool shots that you love, all the cool scenes that you love. Just get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
Just to see what it looks like as skeletal as humanly possible.
Right, and then put in air on those
Yeah.
times that it really does need it.
Yeah.
Air being, you filmmakers should know what air means, but air means to draw out a cut. So,
Yeah. Time.
Time.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
Going places, doing things.
All right. Well, is there anything else we can learn from Reproductive Cycles?
Probably.
Probably we're just not gonna not talk about them.
Not now though.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
Oh, there was something I wanted to point out.
What?
What? Audio.
Audio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something we can learn about the audio they used was there was really, really good audio throughout this whole thing. Something you can learn about putting your own character into this fourth wall breaking kind of thing is proximity to the microphone. When the narrator sounds like how I sound right now, you don't want your character inside the film sounding like this. This doesn't make any sense to have the character here and then the narrator here if it's the same person and if they're going to be the fourth wall breaker kind of thing. Because the humor in here was that the guy was fourth wall breaking inside of the scenes that were happening. And the reason why we consciously knew that was because his voice was at the same level the entire time. So it didn't take us out of the movie. It was totally fine the whole time.
Yeah.
Audio dialed. Visual dialed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acting performances were all good.
That's that we can learn that the performances were good.
I learned that. Don't know about you.
I learned that it's a good thing to have good performances in your movie.
I learned that my opinion of this is that it has good acting.
I learned that I have opinions about a film.
Loophole, found a loophole.
Well, we could say this, though, because many of the short films that we've seen sent to us, it's like the missing piece that we've seen over and over and over is good sound.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that problem a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that problem is so plagued that sometimes it goes without saying.
There's a reason why we shoot short film roundup with a microphone on our desk because of how often we've had to hold it up and say, look, you need to get something like this. Stop using those two little holes in the top of your DSLR.
Yes.
Stick one of these and get one of those.
Which I'm using
Yeah, pick it up.
using it for what it's not designed for.
Yeah.
Or one of these.
Or one of those. Record some good audio. It's actually more important than your visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's jump into questions. One of our favorite parts of Short Film Roundup is to ask some questions to the actual filmmaker. Very often they respond in the comments below. If you guys have questions for the filmmaker, go ahead and include those as well. Remember, we want to hear from you in the first place
Yeah, we
about what
also
you
wanna-
thought about this movie. But also throw out your questions because Mr. Filmmaker will be paying attention.
Yes.
So, questions, D.
Questions, me. This feels like it was a film that was made specifically for a festival. So am I right in thinking that? Or was this actually like a piece that you had done for a specific different reason? And how big was your crew? Because I didn't read the credits. I'll just read that now. I just look at the credits.
I just look at the credits, man. There they are.
Not too
Oh, yeah,
big.
it's a pretty good crew. Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Were you motivated to make this film, A, because the whole process of trying to make a baby can be so absurd and funny that it deserved a comic piece about it, or B, you wanted to tell a story about a man who was not sure if he wanted to become a father?
That's an interesting question.
That is very interesting.
I want to hear the answer to that.
What was your inspiration for this film? And how long have you been making films? And what kind of films do you usually make? Are you typically a more comedic filmmaker, or do you dabble in other genres, or what's up with that? Bam.
What's next on your creative endeavors? What are you making next? What are you working on? What's in the pipeline?
Pipeline.
Yeah.
What's on the docket?
Reveal your
Docket.
secrets.
Let us know.
Send us more films too.
Send us more.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Well-
also, are we pronouncing your name right?
Gardiner.
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 Nidecker.
All right. Well, you've done it again. You've wasted a perfectly good half an hour watching an episode of Short Film Roundup.
Congratulations.
Hope you learned nothing.
Please be aware that we are making announcement videos that are talking about our upcoming films, so that we don't have to cut to the little theater anymore. You go when you watch the films,
Yeah.
and like think about them yourself,
Yeah.
and then maybe write a little review.
Yeah, we're encouraging everyone to watch films ahead of time so we can dive right into the content, and that you guys can like be totally prepped and ready to go and can be as involved in these episodes as we are.
Yes.
So we can all learn more. I know that there are things that you guys are picking up on and lessons that you are learning from these films that we're not mentioning.
Yeah,
We got to have your voice as
Yep.
a part of this discussion. So please chime in.
and do tell us we're wrong,
Yeah.
because we often are, but we don't know.
Fight with us.
You know
Insult us.
exactly.
Oh, hey.
Threaten Taylor.
Threaten Taylor.
I would love that. Hey, man.
Yeah.
We shot a short film of our own, a Karmanlinestudios original short film.
Yep,
We're not
Payman
in the
was.
void?
We were.
Oh,
Payman was good enough to provide us with a set.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, right,
That's
right.
what
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what happened.
That is what he did. Don't know when that's going to be out, but it'll be out soon. So
What's it called?
It's called Nihilium.
no.
Nihilium. Nihilium.
Nihilium.
That's what I said.
Nihilium.
Nihilium.
You guys are putting way too many
Nihydrogen?
syllables on.
Nihilium.
Neoxygen.
Nihilum. Say it, D.
Narf.
Let them know.
Narf.
Nihilum.
Nihilum.
That's
okay.
what I said.
You said nihilium.
Oh,
Nihilium.
come on.
Nihilum. Okay,
Yeah.
Nihilum.
Hydrogen.
Out soon. Give us a taste of our own medicine. You can go watch that movie and be like, it sucked. The character development non-existent. I don't even know what it's about, dude.
Destroy us.
Honestly, I think
Yeah.
that's what most people would say.
I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are going to say that.
With this one in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. And until next time, we'll just be floating around in this place.
Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you?
D, I've known you for years.
Who are you?
I'm Kenny.
I'm D.
Oh,
I'm Taylor, and I'm going to go measure something.
You can't measure anything in the void. There's nothing to measure.
I'm going to
There's-
go measure something.
Oh no.
there's no sense of time or space here.
Reproductive
69. Episode
Nice.
69.
Nice.
So,
Penis.
Nice.
gonna measure a penis?
I'm going to measure a penis.
There's only 3 in the void.
I'm going to measure a penis,
Oh my-
okay?
I'm excited. Are you gonna spin a bottle or something?
Yeah.
All right,
Wherever
let's
it goes.
see.
I'm gonna.
Ready?
I'm gonna,
It went to me.
Let's see whose penis we're measuring.